Hey, welcome to the Time Catch App channel, where we talk about all things consulting, contracting, freelancing to make you as effective at your contracting, consulting, freelancing work as possible. We design these for consultants from size one, sole consultants, to large organizations. One of the questions I keep getting is, how much should I charge for my consulting work? And I want to go through some examples of that because on the Time Catch App website, we have calculators that can help you answer that question for you. So if you come here to the Time Catch App webpage, you go to resources and you got the calculators. You also go to the blog where we also have some discussion of this. But let's go to the calculators, and you see you have a number of calculators that may make your life easier. Certainly when you're working on it, you can just go to right to these to get information you want. I just want to point out some of them before we jump into the salary to hourly calculator. But the time zone difference calculators, you want to know what the time zone is anywhere else in the world, because we often work with organizations, people in different parts of the world. You just go right there and figure out what time it is there so you can plan out your meetings. There's also the currency conversion calculator if you want to charge in euros or on rupees. What is the current conversion rate? The currency conversion calculator has that for you. It's updated every day. But for now, what we want to do is answer the question, how much should I charge? So we're going to go to the salary to hourly calculator. If you are working as a salaried employee, how much would you actually earn doing this? Because that's going to be the basis for your rates. All right, so in this example here, I have an average employee making $100,000 a year. You'd have to look that up, and you should know what you were making. You can always go to resources.salary.com and so forth to figure out the rates. And if you have questions about that and have a tough time with it, feel free to reach out to me on the contact page, and we'll try to get resources for you. The expected utilization, this is important. This is what proportion of your time is spent on billable activities. And here the default is 80%. If you were a full-time employee of a large consulting organization and you were working on billable work almost exclusively, you would have a billable utilization between 80 and 90%, depending on the type of work you do. As a consultant, I sometimes had billable utilization as low as 50%. If you're a sole proprietor, you're sole consulting because you're doing business development, you're doing invoicing, project management, IT, right? If you're your own person, you're doing IT as well. That's going to eat into your utilization. So in that case, let's make our utilization 50%, which seems more reasonable given all these other activities you're engaged in. Now, let's not forget the employer-paid benefits here. These are healthcare costs. These are life insurance costs. All those other extra 401k costs, those extra benefits that you get, that they're really adds on top of the consulting work. So we need to account for that too. In this case, I put 30 in here. That's your average percentage of salary that's paid to benefits or professional workers. If you want to know where that comes from, there's references to that. But it's about 30% on average, so we're going to leave it at 30%. Other expenses. These are other expenses that you may have in your business that has to be accounted for somehow. If you're renting office space, that's part of your overhead, renting office space. Or if you're paying for your computer, surely you're paying for your computer. You're going to be, if you buy a new computer once a year, you got to add that in. If you're paying for cloud services, cloud computing, you got to add that in. All right. Otherwise, you're going to be running your projects at a loss. So add that in. I'm just adding in $5,000 here for this example. And then how many hours are you going to be working in a year? Typical is 2,000 hours, maybe less if you're in some other regions. I just put about 2,000s in here. Okay, so to match an employer, you need to make $135,000 in revenue just to make what you were making as a full-time employee elsewhere. That's $135 an hour. Now, that does not include the fact that you are also running a business. You're an owner of a business, and you deserve compensation for that. You're taking on additional risk. And we can get into simulations of what those risks are. I'll do that in another video. But you are taking on that, and you deserve to be rewarded for that. It takes work to build up to a steady state in this business, and you need to be rewarded for that. So in this case, I'm going to add in a 20% profit margin. The large consulting organizations probably have a lower profit margin, but they're large and they have less risk at that point. The smaller startups want to have a bigger profit margin. Software companies are aiming for, they're not growing rapidly, they're going to aim for a 40% profit margin. In this case, we're going to aim for a 20% as a service provider. It seems reasonable. Your profit is going to come to you as a business owner, and you deserve that. So in this case, adding that on, you are now going to need to generate $162,000 of revenue to be equal to what you were making as an employee of the large company. And that's $162 an hour. You can see, okay, before I was making $100,000 for 2,000 hours. That's $50 an hour you are earning. To match it, you have to charge $162 an hour. Now, if you're in a technical field, you could easily be making $200,000. Okay? You are now charging $318 an hour. If you're a top executive, high up in your organization, maybe you're making $300,000, you could be charging $474 an hour to break even. So this just gives you some idea of how you set your rates. If you're working on a fixed price model, you might reduce the rate a little bit if you think you can be more efficient. If on time and materials for a larger bulk of work, you might increase it a little bit. Right? If someone's going to occupy your time to 80% utilization, well, now you can charge down to $296 instead of in the 400s. So that's something to think about when charging your rate. When people ask me my rates, I've already calculated that. I know what to say to people. Don't be embarrassed by it. So the market rates, and you should charge what you deserved. If you got this far in the video, I have a gift for you. If you would like to get a free proposal checklist, and everyone in the consulting business is going to have to generate proposals at one time or another. So it's good to have a checklist of the things that should go into your proposals. So if you want this free 5-page checklist, go to TimeCatch app, go to the contact us page. You see the feedback form, enter your name, enter your email, and just put down here, free proposal checklist. And I will send you, free of charge, no questions asked, PDF of this 5-page checklist with lots of good information in there. All right. So I hope this has been useful. If it is, hit the subscribe button, and I'll talk to you in the next video.